That's all right. Now we got to make sure it looks. Okay. Maybe do a purge of this table now that Allison's gone. It's a new world. Okay. All right. Ready to rock? We're good. Hey, folks, Dr. Joe here. Sorry about a little delay there. The camera went to sleep on us. So, anyway, welcome. Glad you could be here. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. First time joining us, welcome. If you're a regular, you know the rules. What we do is we do two 24-minute segments. I talk for 24 minutes. In that time, whatever platform you're on, you type in any health questions you might have, any health questions. At that 24-minute break, my producer, Heather, will read them to me. I'll answer the questions for you. Then we'll go into part two. I'll do another 24-minute segment, and then we'll answer more questions as well. So at any time throughout the podcast, if you have any questions, please type it in. If you're listening live, okay, it's March 20th, 2023 at about 1 o'clock Eastern Time, just type in your comments, #live. If you're listening to this on a replay, type in #replay. I appreciate that because then the bots that run the world can tell who's listening live, who's listening on replay. So if you do that for me, that'd be great. #live, #replay. Any questions, type them in for me. So as soon as Heather is done, yes, she's ready? Okay. Let me take a sip of tea and get rocking. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito here. Glad to be with us today. What we're talking about today, I'm going to answer some questions. People ask me all the time, Dr. Joe, tell me about supplements. What are your thoughts on supplements? Now, I am a huge fan of supplements. I take them every day. I can't imagine why the whole world doesn't. It's way cheaper than a lot of therapies that we're doing right now, way more effective, very few side effects, usually no side effects. But some of them are scams. And every day, somebody sends me a question through the website, drjoe.com, and says, what about this, what about that? And a lot of them are scams. And so I'm trying to filter out what's real and what's not. So I'm going to give you some scientific research because I base what I do on facts. Not if it's an opinion, I'll tell you it's my opinion. But other than that, what I say is scientific research. And we want to make sure you understand that you're not getting scammed because supplement industry is really loosely regulated. That's why the supplements, the Dr. Joe brand, I make sure that they're the ones that I would take. I can take any supplement in the world. These are the ones I would take, and those are the ones I'm willing to put my name on. But you can go to a grocery store and buy some cheap supplements. Well, they oftentimes don't work and many times cause more damage than they're worth it. I'm going to talk about omega-3 fatty acids a little later. And there are certain types that are good and certain types that are actually toxic for you. Same thing with a lot of other supplements. So one of the ones I want to start with, the debate that goes around, and this one really isn't debatable. It's everyone pretty much agrees on this one, is turmeric. Now, turmeric, it's a relative to ginger. It's orange. You may have seen it in Middle Eastern cooking, Indian cooking. If you get it on something, it will stain you. You can get it on your countertops. It'll stain your countertops, your clothes. So just if you're going to use it, be careful. It's been touted to help with cancer, to ease depression, and so much more. So let's talk about what the scientific research says, and does it really work? The answer is many times yes, but a lot of times it's hype. Several compounds in turmeric support mental health. Most common is curcumin. Curcumin is the active ingredient in turmeric that gets a lot of press. Scientists are excited that curcumin's potential to ease depression and help antidepressants work. So far, results have been mixed in the research, but the nice part is there's very little downside to taking something like turmeric. If you take it and it doesn't do any good, it's probably not going to do any bad, as opposed to certain things like medications. Many times, and I'm not against medications, but many times they have such negative side effects, the drug is worse than the treatment is worse than the disease. So turmeric, pretty high upside, pretty low downside. For depression, I say add it. Add it to your protocol if you have depression. Type 2 diabetes, pretty cool. Curcumin can help fight inflammation and keep your blood sugar steady, and it's a useful tool to prevent or treat type 2 diabetes. One study, 240 adults with prediabetes, found that taking curcumin supplement over 9 months, so this wasn't something you took one day and saw the results, lowered their odds of developing diabetes. Now, research, of course, is ongoing. A lot of the research has been done on animals, not humans. But once again, risk to reward factor, absolutely. I say if you're diabetic, I would add it to my protocol. And I have a whole protocol on diabetes. If you go to my website, drjoe.com, just type the word diabetes in the search bar. We did a really good show on that. Now, this is what I would recommend. I'm not saying stop your medication for anything and stop doing what your other doctors are saying. I say add this to your protocol, whatever your condition is. Let's add nutrition. Let's add chiropractic. Let's add working on the digestive system. And in many cases, dare I say most cases, people get well enough that they can go back to their doctors and say, hey, listen, my blood pressure is better, my cholesterol is better, my diabetes is better. Can I reduce my medication? And in a huge response, I mean, it happens all the time, the doctors say, you are doing great, let's reduce your medication. So my goal is not to take you off your medication. My goal is get you well enough so you don't need the medication. And so this is something that you could add to it. Viral infections. You're under the weather, you might try turmeric. The curcumin, that's one of the active parts of turmeric, might help fight viruses and herpes and the flu. Now keep in mind, turmeric is only about 3% curcumin. And your body doesn't absorb curcumin well, so occasional cup of tea is not going to be a cure-all. We have a supplement on my website, drjoe.com, and it's turmeric, and it says I take about 4 a day. It's perfectly fine. You're not going to overdose. If I'm in pain, if I have an injury, if I worked out, if I get a blazing headache because I have a traumatic brain injury, sometimes it flares up, I'll take 6 or 8. So safety factor on it is pretty high. Premenstrual syndrome. Study on muscles from guinea pigs and rats showed that turmeric can relieve muscle spasms and cramps. Once again, is it worth taking? Certainly part of a protocol. Now, when it comes to supplements, remember this. What I teach you, it's part of a protocol. Nothing I ever teach you is the total protocol. Chiropractic care, absolutely. I can't imagine why it's not the law that people have to get their spine checked because the nervous system controls everything. And if you have a pinched nerve, it can hurt, but 90% of the time it doesn't hurt. 90% of your nerves don't feel pain. So you can have a pinched nerve and not know it. So that's why I believe everyone should get their spine checked, even if they have no pain, if their goal is to obtain and maintain good health. If that's not your goal, you probably wouldn't be listening to the show anyway. So chiropractic care, absolutely across the board, but it's not the end-all be-all. I like to do a nutrition evaluation for my chiropractic patients. I like to do a digestive analysis for my chiropractic patients and try to do everything we can to get you well and keep you well. Otherwise, I don't feel you get into full benefits. So that's why I want you to consider that. High cholesterol. Research on turmeric's ability to keep your heart healthy is kind of mixed. Some studies show turmeric can lower low-density lipoproteins, which is the bad cholesterol. Others concluded the spice has no effect. Scientists continue into their research, so the jury's out on cholesterol. Now, if you go to my website, drjoe.com, type the word cholesterol in the search bar, we did a real good show on cholesterol. Turmeric, again, could be part of a protocol, but it's not going to be the end-all, be-all for cholesterol. Alzheimer's disease, not a real strong correlation between turmeric and Alzheimer's disease. Now, there is a strong correlation between omega-3 fatty acid levels and Alzheimer's. We're going to talk about that later. So if you're taking it for a condition of Alzheimer's, I did a show on that the other day, and we covered a lot of Alzheimer's and what the new research is showing. And just to give you, Reader's Digest version of it, the more saturated fat you eat, animal fats and proteins, the higher the risk of Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and other dementia. The lower animal protein intake and saturated fat intake, the lower the risk. In a nutshell, man, Dr. Joe was right. I've been right for many years, and I was right on this one too. Arthritis. This one is pretty famous for arthritis. Turmeric has shown promise for the ability to ease joint stiffness and inflammation. A lot of research going on with it. Once again, you're not going to take one pill and see results. You take an aspirin, you might see results. With turmeric, you have to get it in the body because, again, curcumin is not absorbed very well. Now, there is some research that shows that if you take turmeric with black pepper Black pepper helps you absorb the curcumin more efficiently. Curcumin is the active ingredient, one of the active ingredients in turmeric. Other research says no. So the nice part about that research is that you can add some black pepper to your turmeric, and if it doesn't work, it didn't work. No harm. That's the beauty of when you understand supplements and nutrition and chiropractic care. The risk is very low. The reward, potential reward, is very high. So that's why I want you to consider getting the nervous system working, digestive system working, and the diet straightened out. There's no downside, very little downside to doing it, very high upside. Financially, chiropractic, most effective, least expensive treatment for back pain. Why wouldn't you do the most effective, least expensive treatment? That's a rhetorical question. I have no other way to ask it. It's the most effective, it's the least expensive. If it doesn't work, you could always, what I call escalation of care, and go to higher risk therapies, like injections, like surgeries. But why not go to lowest risk? Sure makes sense to me. So arthritis and turmeric, yes, there's a lot of good research on anti-inflammatory response to turmeric. Now, my German grandfather came to America in 1923. Hitler was just on the rise in Germany. Came to America, didn't speak English. And here we started going to war with Germany not long after. And he was a German in America who didn't speak English. Okay? High risk, potential high reward. And he did. He didn't do well for himself, but he did very well. But one of the things he taught me was, Joseph, always buy the best. It's always cheaper. And he was a carpenter by trade. And he had very few tools. But he could do amazing things with woodwork, with the few tools that he had, because he had very good tools, but not a lot of them. And that's the same thing when it comes to your health care. You want to get the very best. If I needed brain surgery, I wouldn't go to some discount brain surgeon. Well, I wouldn't go to a discount chiropractor either, because traditionally you don't get very good results and people have negative experiences with it. And that goes the same thing for dentists or anyone, any healthcare provider, anything really. So always buy the best. It's always cheaper. That's what I found. And so when it comes to supplements, a few pennies can make a big difference in the quality. So with turmeric, you want to make sure you're getting good one. And on our website, drjoe.com, we have a turmeric that I take every day, and you can get it as well. Irritable bowel syndrome, once again, anti-inflammatory. More research is needed. Might help a little bit. Turmeric helped improve IBS symptoms and abdominal pain in a study of 207 adults. Again, no harm. I'd say take it because, again, it's anti-inflammatory, and bowel problems are oftentimes inflammatory. Headaches, same thing. If you have headaches, it could be an inflammation issue, and you might want to consider turmeric as well. Now, number one cause of headaches that I find in my practice is pinched nerves. Bones in the neck out of place cause the headaches. Now, my fourth thoracic vertebrae, that's kind of my upper mid-back, when it goes out of place, I start having shoulder pain, and then I get a headache after that. So getting my neck adjusted doesn't help my headaches. Getting my mid-back adjusted does help my headaches. And so that's why my team of doctors are trained to dig a little bit. Let's be investigators, and let's dig as far as we can go to get to the cause of the problem. Even though the pain might be in the head, my cause is my mid-thoracics, my mid-back. And so my team of doctors, we objectively analyze our patients. Well, I have pain in my left shoulder. Well, it could be that you have a hip out of place that's causing you to walk crooked, that's throwing off your balance, that's pulling on the latissimus dorsi muscle, which is dropping the left shoulder, causing the pain. Treating the left shoulder may not treat it. And that's why we have such a high failure rate in a lot of therapies in the healthcare field, because we're treating the symptoms, we're not treating the cause. And we got to get to the cause of the problem. And just because it's a left shoulder pain doesn't mean it's left shoulder. You got to realize something, too. We're talking about supplements today. I'm going off on a tangent. But if we do MRIs, which is a great, valuable diagnostic tool, 39% or 39 out of 100 MRIs are going to be false positive. So what does that mean? I've got pain in my shoulder. I've got a bulging disc in my neck. I need surgery. 39% of the time, it's not the bulging disc. And that's why so many surgeries, there's a high failure rate, because we're operating on something that wasn't the cause. Now, it makes sense. I have a bulging disc. It pinches the nerve that goes to my shoulder. That's probably it. 39% of the time, it's not. We can take 100 people with absolutely no symptoms, do an MRI on them. 39 out of 100 are going to have a positive finding, bulging disc somewhere or something else. And it's not the cause of a problem because they don't have any problems. So that's why we try to get to the cause, not just treat the symptoms. So with headaches, I know that food can be a big trigger. I can't do caffeine. If I do any caffeine, even a little bit of caffeine, bam, blazing headache. I can't do caffeine. Don't do it. I know a lot of people, if they have a little bit of wheat, just even a cracker, it can blow up their bowels. They have celiac disease. So then you just don't eat crackers, wheat crackers. You could do rice crackers or almond crackers, but you don't do the wheat crackers. And so we always try to find out where we're going with this, because I've had so many patients over the years come in and say, Doc, the surgeon wants to remove a piece of my bowel because I've got such inflammation in my bowel. The only thing they can do is remove it. And I always say, did they ever do a nutrition evaluation on you? No. Okay. Let's do a nutrition workup on you, and let's see if we can take out the irritating foods like wheat and dairy products. Let's get you on something like turmeric, maybe probiotics, maybe glutathione to help the liver. And let's see what happens. And if it works, great. If it doesn't work, you can always have a piece of your colon removed. And this is just one example. So I'd rather go the conservative approach first, and if we need to get more aggressive, let's get more aggressive. And almost always, I never say always, but almost always, when we do that, patients' bowels calm down and they can avoid that surgery. And maybe it's a shoulder surgery, maybe it's a knee surgery. If we can avoid the surgery, we should. That should be a moral compass for all doctors. Let's go to the most conservative approach first, and then if it really is bad, then we can be more aggressive. But I see people coming in all the time, and they say, I wish I'd come to the conservative approach first. Whether it's car accidents or sports injuries or surgeries or back problems or digestive issues or headaches or knee problems, I wish I'd gone a conservative approach first. Along with chiropractic, we have something called acoustic wave therapy or shock wave therapy, and it sends impulses into a joint, and it breaks up scar tissue, increases circulation to the area, recruits stem cells. Stem cells help regenerate tissues and can grow new blood vessels. And I've had countless patients say, Doc, they're talking about surgery, they're talking about maybe doing an implant, and we do the acoustic wave on them, 6, 7 treatments maximum. And like, Doc, I can walk upstairs again. Doc, I can move my shoulder again. Doc, I can move my wrist again. So yeah, maybe it would have been a surgical case, but we were able to resolve the issue without the surgery. So yeah, I'm not against surgery if you need it, but let's try something conservative first. Now, if you do want to make an appointment for nutrition evaluations, for digestive evaluations, pain evaluations, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. We would love to be your doctors. We have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. That's the Atlanta area. I know this show goes all over the world. But we would love the opportunity to work with you. So if you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. Normally the first visit is $940. We've reduced that to $299 for my listeners. That's an exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment. And then on a second visit, going over the x-rays and a complete nutrition evaluation. The x-rays alone will cost you more than $299 anywhere else. So if you're serious about wanting to get well, drjoe.com. We accept people with all insurances, no insurances, car accidents, sports injuries. My staff will give you details on your specific case. So drjoe.com. Book your appointment now. Stop suffering needlessly. And if we need to do a telehealth visit, we can do that as well, and if you're not in the Atlanta area. But I prefer to see you, and let's see what's going on. Let's get to the cause of the problem. And in most cases, you're going to say, why didn't I do this sooner? All right, other things turmeric might be used for. We're talking about today about supplements, and is the hype really worth it? And I'm giving it to you straight. This is what the scientific research says. It's not my opinion. This is what science says. Acne. People claim that putting turmeric mask on their skin or eating turmeric can help with stubborn pimples, perhaps because the spice is reported as antibacterial and anti-inflammatory property. Unfortunately, not a lot of scientific research behind that. So if you want to do it, that's fine. It's not going to hurt you, which is kind of cool. So turmeric, my opinion, take it. Very little risk if you take it. In fact, I don't know of any downside, any side effects of taking it, but a lot of upside. I take it every day. I take it just for general health. There's been studies, like I said, as anti-inflammatory, certain types of cancers, maybe. Again, science is the science is a little wishy-washy in that area too, but there's no harm in taking it. So it's on my website, drjoe.com. That's the one I take. Now, you can use it as a spice. You can use it in your food, but you have to take a lot. You have to really spice your food up with this stuff, and the food isn't going to taste good if you use that much. So we put it in a pill form, in a powder form, so it's real easy to ingest and digest. And if you want to try a little black pepper with it, if you add some black pepper to the food you're eating when you take the turmeric, it's not going to hurt you. That's the nice part. But I love it. I see a difference when I don't take it. I feel stiffer. I don't feel as limber when I don't take it. So that's my anecdotal story, my personal story, and a lot of people have the same story. They're just not as flexible, not as limber, because there is an anti-inflammatory component. That's proven. All right, other supplements. Let's talk about omega-3 fatty acids. I don't talk enough about omega-3 fatty acids. I should talk about omega-3 fatty acids every day. Now, modern research finally observing what we, the people in the healthcare field, have known for years, that nutrition is one of the most important controllable methods of preventing and fighting disease. Doesn't have to be the only method. But why? I mean, I don't have that answer. Why doesn't everyone, every doctor, every healthcare practitioner add a nutritional component to their treatment, no matter what the treatment is? Break my arm. All right, I want to be on an anti-inflammatory diet. I want to be on something that's going to help my arm heal quickly. I want to make sure I'm not on a 2-acid diet, because acid can rob the body of calcium from the bones, so my bones may not heal properly. Simple, easy things. And when that happens, God, I hope that happens in my lifetime. When that happens, you're going to see a dramatic shift in what we call healthcare. It's not healthcare, it's sick care, by the way. And you see these hospitals, beautiful hospitals being built. They're like spas. Why? Because they have so much money. A lot of nonprofits, well, I kind of laugh, it's nonprofit. Of course, it's for profit. Nonprofits have to spend the money, or else they don't get grants anymore. They don't get the tax breaks anymore. So they'll build these elaborate palaces that they call hospitals. Now, I'm happy that we have modern technology to do that. But I know that if we took care of ourselves throughout our lives, we can reduce our need for things like that. I'm not against it. Believe me, I'm not against it. But I think that we're relying on the end game too quickly. Let's go something more conservative. And why everybody doesn't get a nutritional consultation with every health visit, I don't know. We do it for every one of our patients. Have since I started in practice 38 years ago. And we're going to continue doing it, because I feel if you're going to get health care, you have to cover all aspects, the nervous system, digestive system, and the diet. So for diseases that are not fully controllable by nutrition, we've learned that nutrition can greatly improve the outcome. So even if you can mix the therapies, you can mix medicine, you can mix surgery, and you can mix chiropractic, and you can mix nutrition, you can mix supplements, and get the body as healthy as it possibly can. But what happens is, and if you've been around long enough, you've seen every fad diet known to man. There was the keto diet, there was the paleo diet, there was the high protein, there was the low protein, low fat, Pritikin diet if you're old enough. Diets. There is no diet that's ever worked. Lifestyle works, but a diet by definition is temporary. So like people on a keto diet, lost weight. Oh, it's great. I feel great. That's wonderful. Now long-term studies are coming out showing that after 3 months, it may have an adverse effect on your heart. You're not designed to eat high protein. We know that things like Alzheimer's, diabetes, cancer, high-fat, high-protein diets increase your risk of getting these diseases long-term. Short-term, no. Long-term, yes. So people really need to come to the realization that you have so much control over your own health. A diet and supplements are certainly something you can do. Now, every membrane in your body, cell membranes, membranes around the mitochondria, the Golgi apparatus, the endoplasmic reticulum, the nucleus of the cell. So your cell has a membrane, and then inside it has things that have membranes as well, or walls around them. Every one of them contains high level of DHA. DHA is one form of omega-3 fatty acids. Studies have shown that people that eat a lot of saturated fats and polyunsaturated fats, omega-6s and omega-6 specifically, tend to have very stiff cell membranes. Now, why is that important? The cell membranes open up and let good stuff in and let waste products out. And again, there's membranes within membranes within membranes. And so that interferes with the operation of hundreds of receptors and functional molecules that are found within the cell membrane. And as a result, the cells become sick and that person becomes sick. So if you're eating a lot of omega-6 fatty acids, you need a little bit. The perfect ratio of omega-6 to omega-3s would be 1 to 1. One omega-6 fatty acid to one omega-3 fatty acid. We need some of it. Many people in the United States especially are getting 15 or 20 omega-6s to 1 omega-3. And so that's way too much omega-6s, which causes excessive inflammation. So turmeric, like we just talked about, might come into play and help reduce the inflammation, but you got to stop causing the inflammation if your goal is to get well and stay well. So we hear a lot about the ratios of omega-6 to omega-3. Now, cooking oils, vegetable oils, are loaded with omega-6, salad dressings, processed food products. So the primary omega-6 oils are going to be corn, peanut, soy, sunflower, safflower, and canola. Now, folks, I got a lot more to cover on omega-3 fatty acids. You don't want to miss this because it's going to make a difference in your life and even your risk of Alzheimer's. So if you have any questions, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. If you want to make an appointment, drjoe.com. You can send me questions through the website. I'm happy to answer them for you. But my team of doctors and I, we want to be your doctors. We want to help get you well and keep you well. That's our little catchphrase. Now, please follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito, all one word. At Dr. Joe Esposito, we post every day. Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. Follow us, LinkedIn. So follow us because there's a lot of good information out there. And if you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Again, my website, drjoe.com. I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. We'll be right back. Bam. You have question?
I have one question. Are gummy vitamins absorbed faster than basic vitamins? They're asking because they have stomach issues with basic vitamins.
I've never heard that. I don't think so because the gummy is just a conduit. It's just a carrier for the vitamin. Now, if you have stomach issues, it goes back to my statement. Why do you have stomach issues? So avoiding taking supplements isn't the problem. The stomach is the problem. So if you want to come see us, we can do an evaluation on your stomach. Let's see. Maybe the stomach is pushed up against the diaphragm. Maybe you're low in stomach acid. Maybe we got to get you on digestive enzymes. Let's fix your stomach, not change your supplements. Now, many people with severe digestive issues do really well with Dr. Joe's Essential Source. Now, this stuff is prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin. So I would suggest Dr. Joe's Essential Source, and I would add Dr. Joe's Super Greens to it because Dr. Joe's Super Greens is a great combination when you add the two together. So I would add Super Greens and Essential Source. Now, if you have digestive issues, I'd say take a teaspoon of each. Shake it up with some coconut milk, almond milk, and try that. If you do well, take a tablespoon of each the next day. Then go up to a scoop a day. But I've had people with irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, colitis, cancer patients from chemo damage that was done to the colon, and they do very well with Super Greens and Essential Source. But again, fix the stomach. That's the problem. Other questions?
That's it for now, Doc.
All right, let's keep rocking on omega-3s, baby. Ready? Hey, folks, Dr. Joe Esposito. If you're just joining us, welcome. If you stayed with us, thank you. Appreciate that. I know everybody's busy. So we're talking today, we're trying to give you some facts about supplements. Are they worth it? Are they not worth it? Earlier, we talked about turmeric, and there are some promises and people that swear that turmeric does it, and the science backs it up. And other things people say turmeric does, and there's no science behind it. But the nice part about turmeric is it's pretty safe. There's really no downside to taking it, so you can take it. I take, 4 a day, 4 turmeric capsules on drjoe.com. I take that one every day. If I'm in pain, if I just worked out, I have a old fracture in my low back. If I do a lot of heavy lifting, my low back will flare up. My headaches from my traumatic brain injury flare up sometimes. I'll take 6 or 8 turmerics. So it's pretty powerful, but again, there's very little downside. The omega-3 fatty acids, we just started talking about that a little bit. You got to not only take omega-3s because they're essential. Essential means you have to get them from an outside source. Your body doesn't make them. But you also want to avoid the bad fats, which are the omega-6 fatty acids. Omega-6 fatty acids and saturated fats, like animal products. Omega-6 are found in corn oil, peanut oil, soybean oil, safflower, sunflower, and canola oil. These oils should be avoided as much as possible. Now, any processed oil you should avoid. Now, I'm Italian. I like salad. I like artichokes, stuffed artichokes. I like my vegetables. And so I'll use a little bit of extra virgin organic coconut oil. A little bit. Because when you heat the oils, they change their molecular structure as well. Even if it's organic extra virgin olive oil or coconut oil or avocado oil, it's going to change its molecular structure. So use as little liquid oil as possible. And that goes for margarines, even vegan margarines, the semi-solid ones. Still stay away from them, the vegan butters. Stay away from them too if you can. Because first of all, a tablespoon, how many calories in a tablespoon of oil? Any idea? About 120 calories in 1 tablespoon of oil. That's a lot of apples and peaches and pears and bananas and pineapples and kiwis and starfruit and lettuce and cucumbers and tomatoes to make up 120 calories. So please use any liquid oil sparingly, especially the ones that are high in omega-6. Now, omega-3 fatty acids are found in high levels in healthy cells. We know this. We can look at a healthy cell. Oh, it's high in omega-3s. Cell brains become more flexible. That allows food in. It lets waste products out. As a result, health is much better. A lot of studies have shown the higher intake of omega-3 reduces inflammation, inhibits cancers, regulates and improves immunity, inhibits arteriosclerosis, that's hardening of the arteries. So omega-3 reduces the risk of heart disease, diabetes, stroke, seizures, memory issues, depression, anxiety, and can prevent damage in autoimmune conditions. So omega-3 fatty acids are really important. Now, there's the DHA and EPA. Those are the 2 omega-3s that we like. Very little EPA in the body. DHA is the main one, but there's three major ways to get your omega-3s in a supplement form. Now, you can get them from food. Flaxseed has it. Macadamia nuts have it. Even romaine lettuce has omega-3 fatty acids, but that's in what's called the ALA form. ALA has to be converted into DHA and EPA. I know it's a little chemistry there for you. So I like to take the DHA and EPA form. The 3 main ways that you get it from supplements would be fish oil. Not a fan. You run the risk of contamination with mercury and heavy metals, and many times fish oils go rancid. And rancid oils are worse than no oils. Now, the fish oil is not in what's called a phospholipid form. Phospholipid is the form that the body utilizes. So the body has to convert the fish oil into phospholipid. So many reasons why fish oil should be off your list. Number 2 would be krill oil, K-R-I-L-L. Krill are like little tiny shrimp, and that's a way better choice of omega-3s, but krill don't produce omega-3 fatty acids, neither do fish. Fish and krill get it from eating algae. Algae is the purest form of omega-3 fatty acids. That's the kind I take every day. And on our website, drjoe.com, we have the algae oil. The bottle says take 1 a day. I take 2 a day. I take 1,000 milligrams or a gram of omega-3 fatty acids every day because I want my brain to work the best it possibly can. I want to keep my inflammation in my body as low as it possibly can. And 2 studies, researchers found high intake of omega-3 fatty acids reduced the incidence of Alzheimer's disease by 60% overall. Now, I just did a show on Alzheimer's. And a lot of people called in and sent me messages afterwards saying, Doc, my mother had it, my father had it, I'm scared. What can I do to prevent it? So if you go to my website, drjoe.com, just type the word Alzheimer's or dementia into the search bar, you can listen to a show we just did recently. And we talk about that once the cells are dead, in Alzheimer's, for example, the body builds up something called tau proteins. And it builds up these mesh basically forms around the cell, and the cell dies. Now, even if we can replace that cell with a new cell, that sounds like a good idea, right? I can scratch my skin and replace new cells with it. That's great. But the amyloid plaque or the tau proteins, when they kill the cell, what's ever in that cell, the memory that's stored in that cell, dies with it. So even if I put a brand new cell in there, it's like a new computer with no apps on it. The apps are all wiped out. So we want to prevent Alzheimer's and other dementia and other brain issues like Parkinson's the best we possibly can. And omega-3 fatty acids are a huge part of reducing risk by 60%. What if I had a drug and I could say, I want you to take this because you're high risk of Alzheimer's and it can reduce your risk by 60%. That drug would sell like wildfire. Charge anything they want for it. Make a fortune on it. Yet we have a supplement that does that. And how many people take omega-3 fatty acids? Raise your hands. Not a lot of you. So I would say, somebody in the audience just raised their hand. So I would say go to my website, drjoe.com, and take Dr. Joe's omega-3. I take 2 a day. Even if you take 1 a day, please. I take 2 because I understand how important it is. There was a phrase I used to use years ago when I was lecturing, and somebody brought it up to me. They said, Dr. Joe, I heard you lecture like 30 years ago and blah, blah, blah. And they said, you made an impact when you said this sentence. And they said, if you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. And I said, I remember you saying that, Doc. I was at a live lecture of yours, and it stuck with me all these years. And I always said, I want to do what Dr. Joe does. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel. Do what Dr. Joe does. And I like that statement. Made me happy, of course. But if you knew what I knew, you would do what I do. You would have no question whatsoever. You would get your spine checked for pinched nerves, even if there's no pain. You would get your digestive system checked to make sure it's breaking down, absorbing food the best it possibly can, even if there's no symptoms. You would take supplements every day. And you would change your diet to eating a good plant-based diet. Because if meatball sandwiches and sausage were better for you than what I eat, I'd be eating meatball sandwiches and sausages. But they're not. So that's why I want you to consider, you don't have to do 40 years of research like I have. All you have to do is do what I do. It's pretty simple. So omega-3s, I take them every day. They're on the website, drjoe.com. That's the algae form, purest form there is. Always buy the best. It's always cheaper. Remember Grandpa? My German grandfather said that. I bring that up often. So it's known that people with Alzheimer's have much lower levels of DHA in the brain cells within a part of the brain called the hippocampus, the brain area that regulates memory and behavior. So the hippocampus, has nothing to do with a hippo, it sounds like a college for big animals, right? The hippocampus is where we store memory, and higher levels of omega-3 fatty acids, the better the hippocampus traditionally works. Studies have shown that omega-3 fatty acid supplementations improves age-related memory loss. It can improve it, but once the cell is dead, it can't bring it back. So don't get to that point and then say, I'll let medicine handle it. It's not going to do you any good. Observations supported by animal studies that use rats and non-human primates that demonstrate DHA depleted diets impair memory and learning. So we see this in our test studies. Replacing DHA in a diet restored the experimental animals' learning back to normal levels. So that was in animals, not in humans, but the correlation is very clear. Now, virtually all neurodegenerative diseases are the result of low-grade brain inflammation triggered by the activation of the brain's main immune system, and that's called the microglia. These are cells that live in your brain, and when they're activated, they produce inflammation. And these cells normally are in resting state, but when they are active, this inflammation occurs, which is then linked to just about every degenerative brain condition there is. When activated, they release a bunch of cytokines, chemokines, interferons, as well as glutamate. Now, I have a traumatic brain injury. I've talked about this. And if you have a traumatic brain injury, and chances are a lot of you do, by the way, you were in a car accident, you got a whiplash, your head snapped back and forth, and the brain slammed into the skull. You had a traumatic brain injury. You played football, you played hockey, you played sports, you fell, you hit your head. Maybe there you got in a fight. Traumatic brain injuries we used to think were just really serious stuff where people were paralyzed. We're finding now that even small traumatic brain injuries cause the brain to release glutamate. Glutamate is an amino acid that's necessary in small amounts, but when there's trauma, it's released in large amounts. And that causes a lot of pain. It's called an excitotoxin to the brain. An excitotoxin means the brain gets excited and it can actually start to poison itself. This is an autoimmune excitotoxin. If I eat monosodium glutamate, what's the word in there? Glutamate, right? Monosodium glutamate. Monosodium glutamate can cause an excitotoxic reaction to the brain and cause headaches and cause the brain to fire off faster than it's supposed to. How about artificial sweetener? Aspartame. Aspartame is another amino acid that acts like glutamine or glutamic acid and can cause headaches and excitotoxin to the brain. That's why I'm not a fan of artificial sweetener. Not a fan of monosodium glutamate. Not a fan of traumatic brain injuries either. But when those things are released, you may have to take magnesium to neutralize the glutamic acid and calm it down. It doesn't work really well. It works somewhat, but not great. So it can calm it down a little bit, and that's why when I have my brain issue is activated, I'll take magnesium to help calm it down. Now, a number of studies have shown DHA significantly reduces destructive effects of neurodegenerative diseases. So now the effects are being there. Once again, if the cell is dead, it's dead, but we can slow it down before it gets to that point, hopefully recapture the things that are stored in those cells. Now, Alzheimer's, second most common neurodegenerative disease. Parkinson's is number one. Parkinson's is when the body doesn't have enough dopamine. So let me explain this to you. About 90%, 98% of the nerves from the research I've seen suppress the other 5 to 10% of the nerves. So dopamine helps suppress the nerves so they don't fire off and cause that uncontrollable shaking. So when dopamine levels are low, it becomes an issue. Now, dopamine also gives you pleasure. So it has multiple purposes in the brain. Low levels of DHA have been shown to lower the neurotransmitter dopamine in the receptors of the frontal lobes of the brain, resulting in problems with attention and learning. And also, if the dopamine gets too low, it can cause the brain to not suppress other parts of the brain and can cause those shakes. So DHA is necessary to maintain normal dopamine levels, or L-DOPA levels. Now, it's interesting. There was a study I read recently on Parkinson's and medication, and the results that medication can do to calm down the tremors. They also found in the research that fava beans are high in L-DOPA. Now, beans are high in L-DOPA anyway, but fava beans particularly high. And a serving, which was a cup of fava beans every day, in many cases worked just as well, if not better, than the medication they were giving people for Parkinson's. So if you have that issue, now it was also called velvet beans. I don't know what velvet beans are. They were the most effective in the research. So you can look it up. If you know what a velvet bean is, let me know, because I'd like to try them. But fava beans, just a serving a day, can help increase the L-DOPA levels, which can increase the dopamine levels, which can suppress those tremors. Why isn't that taught for every patient that ever had Parkinson's? Now, is it going to solve the problem? I don't know. Probably not. Is it going to help the person live a more normal life and give them activities of daily living? Yes. That's what the research is showing. So once again, I don't understand why every doctor, every nurse, every practitioner doesn't give a nutrition evaluation with every patient that they treat. It blows my mind. Now, my goal is to make sure that happens in healthcare, but I'm a small fish in a big pond right now. So we're working on that. Now, deficiency is also shown to increase sensitivity to addiction by altering neurotransmitters in the area of the brain that control addiction. So if you're an addict, whether it's sugar, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, gambling, whatever your addiction is, abuse, some people are addicted to abuse, the omega-3 fatty acids seem to help that part of the brain that controls addiction. So once again, no downside to taking omega-3 fatty acids that I know of. I've never seen any. So it can restore neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine that can help with depression, suicidal thoughts, schizophrenia, psychotic personality, hostility, aggression, bipolar. Why isn't this part of everybody's diet? I don't know. So folks, just tuning in, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. What we're talking about today are supplements. Do they work? Do they not work? What does the scientific research show? And is it worth taking? If it's a quality supplement, the answer is almost always yes. If it's a cheap supplement, the answer is almost always no. Because let's take calcium, for example. If I were to take standard calcium supplements that I bought a big bottle of it really cheap in a big box store, that's probably going to be calcium carbonate. Calcium carbonate can actually block up my receptor sites and prevent me from absorbing other types of calcium, citrate, lactate. And so I need the good calcium to be absorbed. The calcium carbonate prevents me from absorbing the good calcium. And so calcium carbonate can actually reduce your body's ability to absorb calcium. This is why it's important to understand the facts, not just the headlines. Osteoporosis, headline. Osteoporosis, bones low in calcium. That's true. Can I take calcium and reverse osteoporosis? I've never seen it happen. 40 years of doing this, I've never seen it happen. Because a bone is a lot more than calcium. It's calcium, magnesium, you need vitamin D, you need boron, you need silica. It's a recipe, and you can't leave one ingredient out, or else it doesn't work. And so just taking calcium for bone health is ridiculous. It's silly. Now, you can take supplements for that, but also you want to find out the question, why do you have low bone density? And that could be the diet, that could be the hormones, it could be lack of activity. So you always want to get to the cause of the problem and not just treat the symptoms. It's okay treating the symptoms in the short term, but ultimately let's get to the cause of the problem long term. And so if you have a health problem, neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, digestive issues, knee issues, spinal issues, come see us. In the Atlanta area, we have offices in Marietta, Duluth, Stockbridge, and West Cobb. And we would love to be your doctors. Now, I know this show goes all over the world, so if you're not in the Atlanta area, we can always do what we call telehealth or telemedicine consultation and then advise you for lifestyle and supplements and things like this. So if you want to make an appointment, go to my website, drjoe.com, drjoe.com. So to come into the office, we accept people with all insurances, no insurances, car accidents. Folks, if you're ever in a car accident, if the car is damaged, you're damaged. I've never seen it any other way. So I strongly advise, if you get in a car accident, come see us as quickly as possible. Because insurance companies play games with you. Oh, you didn't go to the doctor, you weren't hurt. We're going to deny your claim. Insurance companies have one job, and that job is to pay off their investors, to make money. They're not here to pay claims. They're here to make money. And that's business. That's capitalism. You don't have to fall for that, though. You have the knowledge now to how to deal with them and get around their little games that they play. So drjoe.com, we would love to see you as a patient. Normally the first visit is $912. I've reduced that for my listeners to $299. Exam, x-rays, consultation, first treatment, going over the x-rays on a follow-up visit, and a complete nutrition evaluation. Again, if you're not in the area where we have our offices, we can always do a telehealth consultation for lifestyle and nutrition. So drjoe.com. If you have any questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. I'm happy to answer your questions for you. Again, my team of doctors and I want to be your doctors. We want to get you well and keep you well. So we're talking about today, do supplements really work? I want to cover glutathione. Most of you have never heard of glutathione. Glutathione is a powerful antioxidant. It's composed of 3 amino acids, cysteine, glycine, and glutamic acid. In that case, glutamic acid is necessary. So no glutamic acid is bad. Too much glutamic acid is bad. It's the Goldilocks zone, like most supplements. You got to be in that Goldilocks zone. Not too much, not too little, just exactly what you need. And that's why I'm here to help you to try to find out what that is. Lack of glutathione in older patients could be the key to driving what we call oxidative stress and mitochondrial dysfunction and lead to age-related degeneration. So it's part of the anti-aging program. You got to get those glutathione levels up. Now, I take Dr. Joe's glutathione every day. I don't drink, I don't smoke, I don't eat bad foods. My liver's pretty healthy. I take it every day to keep it that way. So a lot of things I do are preventive, prophylactic. They're proactive, not reactive. Okay? I want to protect against things happening to my body. Am I going to avoid everything? No, I'm not. But I got a heck of a lot higher chance of being healthy than most people who eat the standard American diet and don't take good supplementation. Now, in older adults, supplementation of 24 weeks corrected glutathione deficiency and improved multiple measures of health. So once again, we talked about turmeric, we talked about glutathione, we talked about omega-3 fatty acids. They don't happen overnight. You have to take them for a certain amount of time. In this case, the study was for 24 weeks. And then we started seeing the health results. So it might take a little work on your part. Oh gosh, is it worth it? Absolutely. So if you boost glutathione, that led to improvements in oxidative stress, mitochondrial dysfunction, inflammation, endothelial dysfunction, insulin resistance, strength, energy, and more. So taking glutathione can help so many different things. And I feel, along with turmeric and other things, it should be part of every diabetic protocol because it can help with insulin resistance. So why wouldn't you do the things that can help? Now, if you need insulin, take insulin. I understand that. But let's do everything we can to try to get you as well as we can so that you can then say, you know what, maybe I don't need that insulin. Maybe I don't need that cholesterol medication. I am not telling you to stop taking your medication. Please understand that. I am saying let's be proactive and see what we can do to get the body healthy. So please don't mistake what I said and say, well, Dr. Joe said don't take medication. No, I never said that. Foods that have a positive impact on glutathione production. What do you think they are? Cruciferous vegetables, broccoli, Brussels sprouts, green tea, curcumin, talked about that, turmeric, rosemary, milk thistle. When I made Dr. Joe's Super Greens and Dr. Joe's Essential Source, I had a lot of this research in mind. So Essential Source is the minimum supplements I think everybody should be taking. And it has in it a lot of the things like cruciferous vegetables, fruits, other vegetables, prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, complete multivitamin. I'm giving you the precursors, the building blocks to try to get your body as healthy as we can. I mix that with Dr. Joe's Super Greens. Now, Super Greens is great for the liver. It has chlorella in it, which helps detoxify the liver along with glutathione. If the liver's healthy, you're going to stay healthier a lot longer. And so these, both Super Greens and Essential Source, have tons of benefits on many different levels. But one of them is that it helps the liver work more efficiently. And it can give you some of the precursors to help build glutathione to help the body with brain issues, infections, everything that glutathione works for. Now, I take a glutathione supplement in addition to that. Now, once again, I can take any supplements I want. I take Dr. Joe's supplements because I think they're some of the best. And so if you want to get the supplements, they're on the website, drjoe.com. Now, if you're in the Atlanta area, you come by and pick them up. It'll save you some shipping costs. But we'll ship them usually the next day. And we charge you what it costs us. We don't make money on shipping. So we're happy to do it for you and get it to you any way we possibly can. There's an Oleta Adams song. I think it was back in the 90s maybe. And the line was, I don't care how you get here, just get here. And that's what I want you. I don't care how you get here, just get here if you can. If you want to come in as a patient, great. If you want to do a telemedicine or a telehealth conference, that's great. If you have questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com. But the website is a great source of information. We have over probably 4,000 hours of podcasts now. And you can search it, type in a search bar, whatever you're looking for. If you're a podcast junkie, go to your podcast service and type in Dr. Joe for the health of it. Dr. Joe for the health of it. Hundreds of hours of podcasts. We put at least 2 podcasts out a week. Follow us on social media at Dr. Joe Esposito, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok. We post every single day. We give you information that can help you get well and stay well. And, of course, social media is free. You can do that. Our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. We got thousands of hours of information there, too. And if you have any questions, drjoe.com. So social media at Dr. Joe Esposito is my handle. But the best thing, if you can, is come see me. It's me and my team of doctors. Book an appointment. drjoe.com is our website. Folks, I'm Dr. Joe Esposito. Thanks for tuning in. Boom. Boom. That was a lot of information. My brain is exploding. You have questions for me?
I do.
I'm here.
One viewer is wondering if it's just as effective if they put the omega-3 oil on their skin, or should they be ingesting it as well?
Both. Yeah. Ingesting it's the best way, but you can put it on the skin as well as a topical. So it works great, but ingesting is going to get into the system more efficiently. What else?
Next one is, how often should we do a parasite cleanse, and what kind do you recommend?
I'm not sure you need to do a parasite cleanse. If you have parasites, you do. Signs of parasites could be itching rectum. Of course, you can see in the toilet if there are parasites there. I don't think it's really necessary. If you're eating a good diet and you're eating a lot of fiber, I don't think it's really necessary to do a parasite cleanse. If you want to do one, you can send me an email. I can get you some information on it, but I don't think it's necessary. Again, it's treating the symptom, not the cause. The cause would be getting the body healthy.
All right. And then, how important is choline, and how much is suggested to take daily?
If you're eating a good diet of fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, Dr. Joe's Super Greens, Dr. Joe's Essential Source, you're probably getting enough choline. I don't know offhand the exact recommended dosage, but choline is important for the brain. It makes the brain work very efficiently. And so it's part of the protocol. So once again, if you're doing what I teach you, fruits, vegetables, nuts, and seeds, you probably don't need any additional choline. Do I have choline? I'm trying to see if I can find that real quick for you, the dosage. I can't find it that quick. So, all right. What else?
That's all.
All right, guys. You guys are awesome. I appreciate you so much. Hey, any questions, send them to me through the website, drjoe.com, and we will see you or hear from you or have you listen to us real soon. Bye.